Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing today? Beautiful day, right? No, I think going into Liberty Week, just putting a button up on last week Cincinnati. Had a chance to look at the tape a couple times. And the takeaways are, yes, disappointed with the loss. Disappointed with some play that we did have that we didn't execute, we didn't finish. But for the most part, when you look at it and who we were coming into the season, a relatively young team, where Drew was in terms of not having a spring, I feel like we're getting the train on the tracks, and we just got to stay diligent and working hard and getting better each and every day and learning from these losses. And what I got from it was, we did not finish the drives when we needed to win those type of ball games. We didn't make the necessary stops when we had to. Certainly in the first quarter, first half, with the explosives offensively, or their offense on our defense or in their passing game, and it was like that all game long. So it really exposed who we are at this point in time, and we're just not there yet in terms of being able to go into a venue like that against a team like that and pull off a victory. Lack of communication on the defensive side of the football, which led to a few explosives. Offensively, we had our opportunities 4 times in their territory, came away with 0 points. So we're getting there. We're showing signs of growth, but we've got to learn how to finish, and that's only going to be done through time. That's going to be done through the course of the season. This is who we're becoming. But on the flip side, the positives were, hey, we were in the game. We were not outmanned or outmatched or not physical. We were not intimidated about the environment. We did not adhere to any distractions outside of the football game. We were engaged. We were positive. We fought hard. I saw growth out of Drew Pine. Really opened up the offense a bit. Have really married with the run game really well. Now we just have to, again, figure out a few things. And when you look at the game, you break it down into 2 halves. We won the second half, and that's what I challenged my team with. I said, listen, we're going to win the fourth quarter, and we did it on the points, on the board, on scoreboard, but we just didn't finish off strong to come away with the victory. So now, moving into this week, we know what we have to do during the course of our week of preparation to prepare for a really good football team. So with that, I'll open up for questions.
Obviously, in the passing game, tons of receivers, running backs, tight ends getting involved. It's obviously polar opposite from last year where Harold Fannin called everything. Obviously, new system and everything, but is that what you really envision in the passing game? Is just getting it quickly into a bunch of people's hands and everything? Yeah,
I mean, we have playmakers, and it's not about players. It's not about plays. It's players. And the fortunate thing is that we don't have a fan in the building. That'd be great. But Jaron Johnson, you look at the job he's done. We look at R.J. Garcia, who's starting to come on. Cameron Petaway also has been phenomenal for us as a running back in a return game. Finn Hogan is starting to get involved in it. We have yet to get Alan Middleton involved more. So Reese Scottsdale. So we got weapons, guys. You want to get the ball in their hands and let them do their thing. So anytime Drew has to distribute options and all of them can make plays, we want to do just that. We don't want to rely on one guy for all of our offensive production or one way of doing it. We have a system that we believe in. The run game sets up everything else. It is the foundation for our passing game of what we do. This is how we hang our hat. But when we have these guys that can make plays for us, and we're identifying that, we want to try to create matchup problems and figure out how we can get the ball in their hands.
Just from post-game with Cincinnati and just obviously a very positive outlook on things, for you. Have you kind of always had that? Is that something you've really developed in your coaching career? Just the way you're kind of talking to your team, it's not a loss, it's lessons learned.
Yep.
Have you ever always had that?
Well, I've always said that as a player. Ever since I played the game of football, I've been coached that way. Of course, you're a competitor. Of course, you want to win. But after the sting of the loss subsides, what's next? and the blessings are there. The who you are staring you right in your face. So you have to do something about that, and that's the blessing. Like, okay, we weren't very good in the red zone. We're 75% in the red zone. What's the next thing we need to do? We need to score touchdowns. Well, how do we do that? Well, we can't put ourselves in a bad position by having too many men in the huddle, and that's on the coaching staff. That's on me. So those things I have to be conscious of myself to say, hey, we got the ball on the 1 yard line. This is how we're going to get it in there. So it's those things. What's the point of harping over a loss and being, upset about it? It's good to be upset, but you have to have action behind that. So that's how I always looked at life. I look at life the same way. Everything is a blessing. Everything happens for my good. There's no such thing as a bad day. It's lessons as we go.
Eddie, the first half of the season, the schedule is as challenging as it gets. I was just curious, when you first took the job and kind of appreciated just kind of those first 6 games, were you kind of like, oh man, or bring it on, or a little bit of both when you kind of saw this first half of the schedule?
Well, I didn't really look at it in terms of a win-loss win, none of that nature. I had to figure out, who we were on the football field. And then once I figure out, what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, and where the biggest areas for us to grow are, then I'm able to say, okay, I believe we can go out and compete against anybody. That's never been the issue for me. Things change from week to week. Injuries change the complexion of any team, and that's the nature of it. I never looked at it. Okay, the first half of the season is really our defining moment. Well, there's going to be a couple of teams in the back end of this deal where they're going to emerge and be a surprise too. So every week is different. So as we navigate through the first month or so, these are opportunities for us to find out, again, who we are, both philosophically speaking, but more importantly, who we are as a team and where we need to go and how we need to be one unit moving forward, and setting up for October and November to play meaningful football games, where we're hopefully competing for a championship or a bowl game or something along those lines. And that's what I preach day in and day out is we don't focus necessarily on the opponent. We focus on ourselves, and we have to focus on our job, doing our job very well. And whoever lines up against us on the schedule, that's who it is. And then we have to go out and execute to the best of our ability.
I was just curious, you've really embraced the grind and just kind of being all in, just kind of
stuck in the grind, man.
100 miles an hour. I was just curious. I saw the detail that your first 3 months you lived out of the Best Western. I was just curious, what was that like?
It was like living out the Best Western. It wasn't like anything. I had a bed, I had some food, I had access to a clean shower. Again, the waffles there were amazing. So I knew it was only a matter of time before I got settled, but it was important for me to try to get comfortable in my surroundings as best I could and not worry about, if my bed is comfortable, if I'm staying in a 5-star hotel. I was provided with shelter and good food, and I'm about to work. There are no excuses for me. I don't believe in excuses. I'm going to play the hand that's dealt, and that's it. There was no complaining by me, and I tell the kids the same thing. When they're complaining about, my eggs aren't over easy, or they're not scrambled egg whites. I said, we're not eating for pleasure. We're eating for results. So if it's grilled chicken and a vegetable and potato with no butter, guess what? That's what we're going to eat. We're eating for results, not for your pleasure. Now, when we win, you go out and you go get a steak. You go out and you get that pepperoni pizza with some sausage, bacon, and light salt. Whatever that is. But for the most part, that's how I've always trained. That's what I always believed in, that philosophy, and that's how I'm built.
What was the order at Waffle House, by the way?
Well, actually, they have a waffle at the Best Western.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, since you asked, Waffle House, you get 2 waffles, scrambled eggs with cheese, grits, and I guess sometimes I get the Texas toast too. That's what's your order? I'm just curious. What was
I don't eat a Waffle House much, but it's probably
when you do go,
2 chocolate chip pancakes.
Ooh, chocolate chip pancakes.
We don't have as many up here, although it kind of seems like we do now, actually.
You're a chocolate chip pancake guy. I thought you would be buttermilk. You don't strike me as a chocolate chip guy. All right, okay.
It is the closest Waffle House to an FBS football stadium.
Really? Wow, they do a good job there too. Great food.
Getting back to football for a second, you mentioned you guys won the second half. That meant you didn't win the first half. What can this team do to have better starts to games?
Great question. We're going to figure that out this week. I think we're starting fast. I think getting out there and getting that first down, offensively speaking, sets up the tone. And again, seeing Drew only in 2 games, I'm still understanding his rhythm and what he likes and what the offense likes. So it's going to be important for us to focus on getting the first down and then allowing the offense to go from there. Defensively is getting off to a fast start by getting the 3 and out or turnover. The special forces wise, I think we've seen that first game of the year. And I need our touchdown run. And Cam Petaway is a phenomenal back that can do that. So I think, and I've been on teams where we had slow starts, so you got to figure out ways of maybe going up tempo, maybe coming out in 2 minutes, just get that the energy going. But I have to look at how we practice, and are we starting out practice fast versus just easing into the day. So that's why I said we have to attack the day the moment that we wake up. We strike our 3 T's, we go right to our drills, and it has to be a fast start to our practice habits versus saying, okay, today we're going to turn the switch on and go out here and expect to go fast. No, it doesn't work that way. It starts tomorrow morning. How fast do we start the day? And what's our approach in getting off to a fast and a crisp start that way? So that's how we solve that issue.
When you look at Liberty 1-1, perhaps they outplayed Jacksonville State last week, but turnovers were the major difference in that game. Does that become a good object lesson for your team about the importance of creating turnovers and protecting the ball? That's
always been my message from day one. I said we're going to run the football, we're going to stop the run, we're going to create turnovers, we're going to protect the football. And we do that every single day. We harp on ball security, keeping the ball on the outside arm. We talk about the defense making valid attempts at getting the ball out every time in practice, not just during live periods or during our physical periods, but on days when we don't have pads. Or if you see somebody holding the ball, being mindful of trying to work with your technique of getting the ball out, getting your 2 knuckles on the ball and striking with violence down and through, or getting your hands clawed around the nose of the football and ripping it out like you're starting up a lawnmower. Using those techniques, making sure that the running backs and receivers are making sure that back door is closed from behind and high and tight. So that's preached day in and day out, whether it's spring, summer, or fall, winter. That is talked about. It's ball security and getting the ball out.
Bowling Green lost to Liberty 2 years ago to open the season. Are you using that as motivation, or is it new year, new team, new game?
I wasn't here 2 years ago, and that's in the past. This is a brand new era. We're mindful of this team. We're mindful of the success they've had. They're 21-5 in the last 2 years, an undefeated season. They have some explosive players offensively. They're capable of doing some great things defensively. They're battle tested. So with that in mind, I can't worry about who they were, what they did 2 years ago, or what Bowling Green did 2 years ago. Is what we do moving forward, who we are now, this team, this unit, and making sure our minds are right, our hearts are right, and that we know who this opponent is, we know our plan, we know the situations that we're going to be in, and that we have to execute thereafter at a high level, and not worry about what happened 2 years ago.
Obviously, you didn't coach Harold Fannin, but he had a great NFL debut yesterday for the Browns. How much of just kind of like a selling point can that be, just like in recruiting, just overall, like with the program, and you can be developed here and really succeed at the next level? Well,
you just said it. I mean, I was talking to one of my coaches the other day. We were talking about development, how much is it about development? It's the number one thing that we do is discipline development and using discernment to figure out how and when to apply those things. So when you come to a place like BG or Tennessee State, where you're going to develop your character, 1, 2, as a player to be a professional, 3, the details and nuances and the technique and fundamentals of a high professional level. And you saw that here for Fannin, is that if he had gone to, I don't know, left last year, went to Michigan State or Ohio State, he may have had some success, but I don't know enough success to get him to be the third rounder and to be seen. So you're going to get the touches, you're going to get the platform, you're going to get the opportunity to be coached and have a chance to play at the next level. And he was very fortunate enough to do that. So when we're talking to kids, it says, listen, if you're good enough, they're going to find you. You have to find a place where the coaching staff really harps on your personal development and the development of you as a player. And we have men on this staff that have developed young men. You know, I go back to my Tennessee State team. We have 5 or 6 guys currently right now that are playing at FBS schools. You know, Sanders Ellis at Purdue. We have Boogie Trotter at Marshall. A few other guys that Karate Benson at Wake Forest. So we've developed those kids over the last 3 or 4 years, and now they're getting opportunities to be starters or backups at these other places. So I embrace that part. There's still a place in college football where, yes, it's recruiting, but you have to develop along with that, and I firmly believe that. So I welcome that challenge. I love getting guys that have the measurables, the size, the speed. But if you have the heart to want to be challenged, to want to grow, to want to really grind, to be embraced and embrace the grind of what it takes to be great, we can do some good things together. And that's what I'm looking for in terms of recruiting. So yes, it helps that Fannin did stay, and he is now on the roster and having so far a good season, start to a season in the NFL.
Back at the Doit on Saturday, great environment for the opener. Just, what was that like, and just the expectations of just the fans bringing it for homecoming, great student crowd, first game. What do you expect for Saturday? I
hope the same thing. I hope the same energy. Pack the Doit. Great fan support. Student section was awesome. The band was great. Pudge was amazing. Leading the charge, creating great energy. So we're looking forward to having our alumni come back. People who have graduated, who's been a part of BG over the last few years, to come back and be a part of homecoming and bring the energy. So it's going to be much needed.
I think we had at least one question from Nick Pierce, the sideline radio guy for Liberty. I'm just going to put this on so he can talk. Okay. Go ahead, Nick.
Coach, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hi. Appreciate you taking my question. First of all, before I get to that, though, I got to tell you, I was actually listening to SWV on the way to work today. So,
Nice. What song?
I did want to ask you, though, just about the recent opportunities for former black NFL players getting head coaching opportunities. I know it's something you've talked a lot about. Can that open the door, you, Coach Vic, Coach Prime, can that open the door for other black men who are maybe not former all-pro NFL players, but are still qualified to be head coaches at this level?
Yeah, and it has already. I mean, look at Eddie Robinson at Alabama State, who was a former teammate of mine. Chris Dishman, who's at Texas State University, who was also a teammate of mine. And their list goes on and on. You have former players who have coached in the game. They've coached at the HBCU level or at other places, but I think the fact that of who I am and the platform I do have, and myself and Prime and Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson, it opens eyes to say, okay, there might be a different avenue to find other qualified men to be in these positions of leadership, and it's up for us to be successful. We have to show success, not so much, of course. Yes, you got to win, but also success in the community, success in fundraising, success in developing a quality product, both on the field, most definitely off the field, is so important for us. So I believe that this opens the door for a lot of former athletes that necessarily don't have to go through the process of being a GA first and having to go up the ranks that way. Maybe, it opens the eyes up for different organizations and institutions to look at the character of the man, to look at his track record, to see if he's the perfect fit for his program. So, for their program. So, I think it is a wonderful opportunity for us to do it, but we have to carry the mantle and we have to respect it. We have to be successful in order for others to have an opportunity to do that.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Coach, I think Nick, I think Coach wanted to know what song you were listening to.
Oh, I didn't hear it. Right Here.
Right Here. That's a good one. Yes.
But Week is probably my favorite one.
Week is the number one, right? That's the number one song. Yes. All right.
Thanks, Nick. You got any other questions here for Coach?
All right, gang.
Thanks.
See you next week.
Here shortly.